Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Okay, thank you for joining me. My name is Shai Kwab Ban Yisrael. Welcome to my channel. Jehovah, Creator, thank you for this opportunity to be a light while I'm in this reality, to try to do the best I can to redeem the time and to help anyone else who is interested in doing the same thing, to help them on the path that they're on as well. I ask for the ability to say things that are good for the ears, that bless the soul. And I ask for wisdom. I ask for anointing to speak and to be clear and unconfusing in the things that I say. And I just ask that you would give me special ability to spread the light and the only hope for mankind, to make the resurrection, which is the most important thing in our reality. And so, Jehovah, I just thank you again for this opportunity to redeem the time while I'm in this reality, and for my brethren who are going through their particular situations, I ask that they be given wisdom to go through what it is that you allow us to go through in our reality while we're on the earth. Joey, please, I thank you in your name, so let it be. All right. Thank you, brethren, for joining me on my channel, a channel for faithists, brethren who can subscribe to the OAHSPE Bible. It's the newest revelation from the Creator. And the opportunity to make the resurrection, the Creator, he gives us the OAHSPE to let us know how, just like reading a map. If you want to go, do these things, go here, do that. And faithists, that we've been allowed to be given this information. It's bittersweet. It's just like that book, I think in Revelation chapter 8 or Revelation 10, where the Apostle John, he says he was commanded to eat the book, the little book. And an interesting thing too, this revelation was given to a man named John. Isn't that interesting? This revelation, the OAHSPE, it was given to a man named John. In the Bible, it was the revelation in the book of Revelation was given to a man named John. And I just find it beyond the realm of coincidence that I think the Creator orchestrated it that way. That I know he says the Bible is a partial revelation. Is kicking the world translating the Bible by using the OAHSPE. It's just the biggest thrill to me that I just it's better than finding a bag of gold, if you ask me. But anyway, as I was saying, the Creator is, the OAHSPE is bittersweet because it tastes good, the knowledge, but the doing of it is a bit rough sometimes because we're so used to the life that we have lived, only to come to find out that we were influenced by spirits of the lower realms to keep us tied to the earth. And the Creator is now telling us things that are harmful for our spirit. And it involves overcoming yourself. And, but we can do it. And he gives us this information. I know that anybody, if you want critical information, that you would rather somebody tell you rather than they not tell you and just let you go on and you not know what you are headed for. And so that's what this channel is dedicated to. I just try to use my best, highest light to share what I feel is good for anybody to know in order for us to make the resurrection. Because really, at the end of the day, that's the most important thing in this reality. We want to, at the end of it all, we want to make the resurrection. And we just got tells us how we can do that. It's a bittersweet swallow, but I have to think that if you're going to be in a situation, you might as well make the most of it by far. Absolutely. That makes sense to me. I don't know, a situation, then I want all the knowledge I can get, and I'm not into wasting time. I'm just not into that. So anyway, here's our website. I'm gonna move kind of fast because I got a lot to share, man, and I just hope it knocks you out. I got a lot to share. Here's our website. For anybody who's interested in ministry and information and resources, you can go here. You can donate here, help these brethren do their work as they try to share and spread the light to the best of their ability. That's what it's all about, man. The Creator, He gives you light and so that you can spread it, because that's the only hope for man. The title of the video is Why We Can't Make It. And I mean, the way things are now, we cannot make it. I don't mean to sound negative. I did a little study on it. But I also have some blessing. I like for the messages not to be all doom and gloom. I don't want it to don't want to sound that way. I want to mix the positivity in with the things that are kind of bittersweet. We live under the Uzians. We live under the governance of people who do not seek the Creator, don't want to know about Him, don't care about Him. So we're in a situation where we pretty much are enduring the things that, we're suffering the rulership of people who do not believe in the Creator, don't know, have no knowledge of Him, believe that, that their wisdom is the highest that man can achieve. And we're suffering things right now in the world. And the future, the immediate future is going to be a little rough. I'm going to cover a little bit of that in the video today. Anyway, here's the website, Universal Faith is a Kosmon. Here's some of their ministries. Saturday, meditation, a healing basket every fourth Wednesday, Bible talk every Wednesday, first, second, and third Wednesday. We get together, speak our own language, the OAHSPE, and try to encourage one another, how we can, stimulate each other to keep on to redeem the time, man. Redeem the time. Redeem the time. The pull of the earth is strong and keeping people tied to the earth. The earth has like a 50-yard head start and a 100-yard race, meaning they have an advantage right now. And it's very few brethren who can break the pull of the earth. The pull of the earth, the nice things, the luxuries, the ease, the vacations, the money, the big house, the shiny cars, the meeting. It's not wrong to have any of these things, but if you do it to the detriment of your spirit, that's the only problem right there, And that's the way that's what human beings are. We won't change if we don't have a reason to. If things go great 100% all of the time, we won't seek the Creator. We won't have reason to. We won't want to. In the OAHSPE, it says that's one of the reasons why the Creator doesn't give us all knowledge at birth right away, because if He gave us everything, then we wouldn't seek anything. We wouldn't exert ourselves. We wouldn't be grateful for the knowledge that we did receive. We wouldn't care. And that's human nature for you. If you give us everything, then we're not going to appreciate anything. We ain't going to work for anything. So now we on the earth, and the Creator says, all right, overcome it. Overcome it. I want you to overcome the earth. That means overcome yourself, overcome the inclinations to be prideful, be full of vainglory, to be just, lustful, greedy. The Creator says, all right, overcome it. Overcome it. the way to making the resurrection, the higher realms, the places that you dreamed about that you really in your soul want to be a part of, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. This is how you overcome it. Personally, I appreciate somebody telling me that, you know. I want to know, even if it hurt, man, you know. I want to know, even if it's going to hurt, you know. Even if it's going to hurt, I want to know. And I'm just I'm thankful, man, that I've been able the highest thing in life is to find the creator. If you can find the creator, man, you done hit a home run. You've done it now, man. I just can't stress that enough, man. I cannot stress that enough. I know you, brethren, Fielder, you got to know what I'm talking about. I know you, brethren, know, man. You know, I know that you know, man. I just hope the creator just give me strength to just keep going. Just go, go, and redeem the time. And I pray the same for you, brethren, too. Better pick it up here. So here's a website. Here's a little creed that they have. What is the faith is? We have faith in the all person, the collective wisdom that is without gender. As faithists, we live by and follow these guidelines inspired by the OAHSPE Bible and the work of John Newbro. We understand that supremacy exists in only a weak and fearful mind. We strive to do good works in the Creator's name. We respect others' opinions and understanding, and openness is willing, and openness as long as their opinions do not diminish the dignity or free will of anyone. We're willing to accept differences from others with no bias. We treat others and ourselves with love and forgiveness. We're kind to our actions and whole being. We give others the freedom we all deserve. It is easy to demand free will, but it is challenging to allow others to exercise their free will. We are able to admit our mistakes and take responsibility for our actions. With these guidelines in mind, it is easier to understand that the foundation of faithism is the study and pursuit of Amarath and Ahiba. Amarath is divine forgiveness. Ahiba is unconditional love. For faithists, the cultivation of Amarath and Ahiba are essential lessons on the path to soul growth. Many faithists adhere to a vegetarian vegan diet to reduce suffering, but being a vegan vegetation does not give anyone supremacy. Basically, this little phrase right here is basically the creator. He's saying that, and it's a rough blow, man, to get people to be vegan, vegetarian. That's a rough blow, man, you know, because we're used to it, and the world is proficient at dressing up meat and making it smell good and making it look pretty and making it tender and delicate. And you have to really, you know, the false gods, man, you know, that's one of the ways they keep people tied to the earth. The creator says it ties you to the earth. You know, I struggle. I want to eat meat, to be perfectly honest with you. I want to do it. I just refuse to do it. I refuse to do it. And from what I understand, the creator says, you know, there's certain things that take time, man. You know, before even a vibration, even the slightest pull on your spirit, it diminishes to the point where it vanishes. Now, it's diminished greatly. It's diminished greatly, but we live in a kingdom where we're set as the kingdom, you know, this kingdom is set up in order to tie you to the earth, you know. And the creator says the eating of meat is something that ties your soul, your spirit to the earth. You know, it's not a fair fight, man, here on this reality, on the red star on the earth. It is not a fair fight, man. You know, it's basically the Uzians, you know, the Druidian spirits, you know, it seems like they get to land all the blows they want to. You can't fight back the way you're used to. The way that we have to fight, just like it says in the Bible, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal but spiritual. That's true. What it says in the Bible there, and I forget, Corinthians or wherever. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal, meaning we pick up a gun, we throw up our hands, and that's not the weapons of the faith that's in fighting evil. You know, now that's a rough deal. You know, turn the other cheek, return good for evil. Those are our marching orders. You know, your what is you know, your foresight has to be pretty strong in order to deal with being a faithist. You got to have some pretty strong foresight, man. That is the ability to see into the future. All right. So here's the OAHSPE. If anybody, you know, oh, shoot, man. I forgot to put the links in the comment section. I think I did. You can get a free OAHSPE by writing the ELOIST, THE, followed by ELOIST, ELOISTS at gmail.com, the ELOIST for free. They'll send you a free OAHSPE and a free Radiance Anthology. A free Radiance Anthology, a free OAHSPE, you know, they'll send it to you free. If you, for anyone new to this channel and you want to know more and you're a little short on funds, you know, then you send an email to the ELOIST, you know. I usually put a link in my comment section on my videos. I will after the video, but I have a charity link, man. If, you know, brethren running into a rough spot, you know, I can be contacted for charity, you know. I could be contacted for charity, man, you know. Also, the unknown many have put together a 6-volume set, where you can, you know, it's basically the way it's put together. It's like for people with short attention spans. And the unknown many have put together where, you know, you can open it up and it'll just have verses and a heading on it just to help you, to give it to you in, you know, a moment. You pick it up, open it up, you know, and it's just got different verses. It's a 6-volume set, you know. It's got a heading to help you to give a little description of what the verse is. And it's a supplement to the OAHSPE. I can be contacted. You're a little short on funds. You can't get it on Amazon. You can contact me and I'll give it to you for free. I'll send it to you for free, you know. I'll send it to you for free, man. I'm convinced that this will be worldwide, maybe generations later, thousands of generations from now, you know. A lot of the things that faithists are called to do is lay the foundation, man, lay it. You know, use the angels, they use your vibration, you know, you don't see it, but you give your energy, you give your spirit and submit it to the angels and they spread it. Somehow they use it to send it out into the world. You're like a force multiplier, basically, you know. You take your spirit, you align it with that vortex, meaning the unseen physical force of the creation principle, and that goes out. It has an effect. We don't see it. The creator, the angels and Radiance Anthology, they say do it, you know, follow that template, man. And you don't sit there thinking that you can't make a difference, you're not doing some great work, or don't think that, man. You know, you got something. When you are in alignment with the creator, you are a force. You are certainly a force, man. You don't have to be, you know, have a channel like this, or, you know, you can just do it silently, you know. Just be just seeking to be in alignment with the creator, and that vibration goes out. And nobody even have to know about it, which is the best thing. So anyway, here it is, 6-volume set, you know, and you're a little short on funds. I just ask you don't take advantage of me. And you want a 6-volume set, I'll be glad to send it to you, man. I'll be glad to send it to you. Okay, enough of that. I'm gonna go straight into the reading. It's gonna be a blast. If I could ever get back to where I'm at. Let me see. Where's my screen at? Oh, okay, here we go. Let me see. Let's see. What? Let's bring up the study. Let's get to it. Or you know what? You know what I wanted to do? I was minded to do something. I hope it bless your soul, man. You know, I hope you like this. I'm going to do this before I go into the study. I hope you like this, man. I was just sitting here thinking, I think I like to, I, 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 I believe, man, if you just, you know, I don't know how to say it, man. I'm going to sound kooky. If you just sit yourself down and be still, man, the creator, he'll put thoughts into your mind, inspirations into your mind. I was sitting here thinking, and the creator said, why don't you open up the OAHSPE and read it, Yaikwab, and see what I give you and see what you can share with your brethren, And so I started thinking about things I wanted to know, And I thought about a verse, man. Some verse, I'm going to share it if I can find it. It was that verse in the Bible where it says, the heart knows its own bitterness and nobody can share in its joy. And I asked AI what that meant, and I thought it was pretty good. I'm going to share it with you. I'm going to do this first, though. In my room on Facebook, this was something I posted. I'm going to do it regularly, too, man. I'm going to just sit and think and see and listen and see what I'm given and share it with brethren. Now, this is called Something to Look Forward to. Let me see. I want to make it bigger. I probably can't. Okay. Well, shoot, I don't know. Okay, I'm not looking at the chat, so I don't keep up with the chat while I'm doing the video. I get discombobulated wanting to talk to everybody. I'm so glad to see y'all. And I get all twisted out of shape, forget what I'm talking about. So I'm not trying to slight anybody. Thank you for joining me. Now, I found a couple of things here. Here was one. It's called Something to Look Forward to, man. That's just going to knock you out. And then I found something else from the book of Ben, and it had to do with, I forget. I'll let you know when I get to it. How about that? Let's read this real quick. It says, now I titled it Something to Look Forward to. It says, this verse in OAHSPE, God's book of Ben, chapter 36, verse 4, or chapter 4, verse 10, it says, directly answers man's questions about how spirits move and exist in the afterlife. Okay. It says, simple explanation. After physical death, when the spirit leaves the body, it becomes free. After the spirit leaves the body, it becomes free. Sit and think about that for a second, man. Do you want to be free? Do you want to go wherever your mind take you? That's what the creator says is going to happen. It says it moves exactly like your thoughts do right now. What would you do, man? You know what I'm saying? Go and hang out with your loved ones, your family. Hang out with them. You do it already in your mind, but the creator says you're going to do it in the spiritual physical. It says you could instantly think, and a lot of you probably already know this, this is new to me, It says you can instantly think about a place across the world. You know what I mean? I want to go to the Great Wall of China today. I'm there. I want to take me to the Riviera. I want to go to the French Riviera. I'm there. I'm already there. Take me to, you get my drift. The creator says that's our future. You know what I mean? Unless you're a Druidian spirit, I'm going to cover that too. If you make the resurrection, this is you. This is talking to you. It says the spirit does the same. It says wherever you truly desire to go, you go without needing vehicles, roads, time, or physical effort. Think about that, man. It says there are no limitations of distance, walls, gravity, or speed that the physical body has to, and that should be something like obey or subject to or something like that. In chapter 36, in book of Ben, chapter 36, chapter 4, verse 9, it says, God said, already your soul goes in that direction, but it cannot take your body with it. Your corporeal judgment cannot cope with spiritual things. It says, as thought travels, so it is with the spirit of the dead. When you have quit your corporal body, behold, your spirit will be free. Wherever you desire to go, you shall go. It says, nevertheless, you shall go only as thought goes, not your physical corporal body. It says, and when you have arrived at that place, it says, you shall fashion from the surrounding your own form, hands and arms and feet and legs perfectly. Now, I don't understand that. Does that mean, what does that mean? I mean, maybe I got a inkling. It says like you go somewhere and and you just shape it the way you want it to be. Key points. The key points, man, of you and your freedom, your spiritual freedom. It says death frees the spirit from the body's restrictions. You are desire directed. You go where your heart desire will lead you. Your thoughts and desires shape your journey. Now, there is only one caveat here that it's not mentioning. It's not mentioning people who do not make the resurrection, people who are under a deity, people who worship themselves. This is talking about resurrection grade people. It's talking about faithists. I think I'm going to be covering that later too. It says thought, speed, travel. How do you thought, speed, travel? No slow physical movement. It's instantaneous, like imagination, self-creation. Upon arriving, the spirit draws from the local spiritual environment called ES, which is spirit, to form a body that looks and feels natural to it. How do you like that? That's a little closer to helping you understand how you go somewhere and then you shape it. I mean, let's say I go to a beautiful land, man, really, really beautiful, and I just start building on it. It sounds like what the creator is saying. I don't know, It says this teaching emphasizes personal responsibility and growth even after death. Where you desire to go will depend on the kind of life you lived in, the state of your spirit. Loving, helpful people are drawn to higher, brighter realms, while selfish or undeveloped spirits may stay closer to the earth in lower conditions until they grow. See, that's a beautiful thing, man. That's ultimate righteous. That's righteousness, man. It's ultimate fair. It's fair. The creator he's the ultimate of what is fair. If you vibrate this way, he lets you go that way. If you vibrate the other way, he lets you go so that the creator, he can't be blamed in anything. He's totally leave it up to you. Make your bed, lie in it, that sort of thing. I had a study that I didn't bring up where it talks about how we, the opportunity we got before us, man, is immense. You know what I mean? I mean, it is thoroughly, it is immense, to make yourself, the gods, they make themselves. That's the opportunity we got right now. It's just an amazing thing that this is not a popular message, It's like a popular message, man, the opportunity that we have, to make ourselves. Now, here's another one from the book of Ben. And I don't know what was on my mind when I posted this. Let me read it and it'll remind me. Okay. It's from the book of Ben. It says, Jehovah said, my divisions are not like man's divisions. I think the universal voice, which is T-A-E, book of Ben, he was asking him questions, about mankind, lovely book, man. Asking the creator all the things people want to know. Asking everything that a human being would ask the creator if they had the opportunity, which you do. And the creator, he tells them. So here, he had asked him a question, something like, what is it like, in the spiritual. Something about the body, or how do they do this? How do they do that? Do they walk on air? And Tay was asking them those kind of questions. And Joby said, my divisions are not like man's divisions. Behold, I create one thing within another. Neither space, place, time, nor eternity stands in my way. The soul is spirit. So that's from the book of Ben. That's a verse from the book of Ben. It says the context of the verse is man is questioning spiritual realities using material scientific terms. He asks things like, what is the soul made of? Oxygen or hydrogen? How can spirits exist or move in heaven if they have bodies? Where is the dwelling place of spirits? All these are legitimate questions, Jehovah, the creator, in OAHSPE responds, my divisions are not like man's divisions. Behold, I create one thing within another. Neither space, place, time, nor eternity stands in my way. The soul is spirit. ES is called spirit. Jehovah is explaining that divine spiritual reality operates on a completely different level from human material categories and logic. Completely different level, Man's divisions, we think in terms of separate, distinct categories, physical versus spiritual body versus soul matter, like oxygen, hydrogen versus non-matter. Here versus there, now versus eternity. We try to reduce everything to measurable scientific building blocks. We reduce things to our understanding. Jehovah's divisions. God creates in a nested, interwoven way, one thing within another. The spiritual, meaning ES, roughly meaning spirit, ether, or non-corporeal essence, it permeates and contains the physical rather than being a separate thing. So it's like the spiritual contains the physical. The non-corporeal, the spiritual permeates and contains the physical rather than being the separate thing, made of the same kind of stuff. Space, time, and physical limitations don't restrict the creator or the soul the way they restrict mortal understanding. That's interesting, isn't it? In short, don't try to understand God, the soul, or heaven using purely corporeal-based thinking and divisions. The soul isn't a material object you can analyze like chemistry. It belongs to a higher, more unified order of creation where Jehovah's presence makes such separations irrelevant. So we can't even fathom, the spiritual. We try to. It's like we go into the spirit, man. That's a whole nother dimension, talking about thought travel, instantaneous transportation, communication, I'm going to do a study on how do spirits communicate, man. I bet you that's really interesting with one another, I remember somebody telling me, I don't know, I forget, my mom or my dad, or I don't know, I don't remember, telling me that that's how people used to communicate, telepathically, when there were no phones. Now, whether it's true, I don't know, but I can believe it, So a little note, about the spiritual as compared to the physical. The spiritual as compared to the physical. Now I'm gonna just go ahead and dive into the study. The name of the video, let's set it up first. Let me get it set up first. Let's see. How do I do this? Let's see. Oh, don't mess up on me. How do I? Okay, here we go. Let's bring the study up. Okay, let's bring the study up. Gotcha. Okay, the name of the video is why can't we make it? Why can't we make it as the way we are going right now? Why can't we make it, man? You know, it seems like we are supposed to be having so evolved and we have so much in abundance, but you have unemployment, you have homelessness, you have people struggling to make it. Let me see. This is not what I wanted. I brought up the wrong screen. Bear with me, brethren. I brought up the wrong screen. Oh, no, don't mess up on me, man. Okay, this is the screen I wanted. Now just hold tight. Let me oh, here we go. Got it. All right. The reason we can't make it, man, and I named the video this because of the situation that we're in. When you read the OAHSPE, man, you know, you can see the creator's plan. If you read a little bit, you study it a little bit, the creator, his whole plan in a nutshell is to make us able to constantly resurrect ourselves, constantly eternal resurrect ourselves, our spirit. It has to do with our consciousness. It has to do with the vibration we're under. That's basically the whole thing about our reality being here on the earth. We have to learn, you know, the era of Cephas, you know, how they're like 7 entities of the creator. Cephas, Kosmon, I forget the other 4. You brethren, you know them. You know, the um, I can't remember all of them, but Cephas is where it was a period of time where the creator taught us that we had to learn discipline, you know. Cephas it stands for that which is established, meaning when you look at the world, there came a time when things began to be structured, you know, like churches and religion and dogmas and creeds, and you have to believe this, you have to believe that. That's called Cephas. That period of time was to get us to practice discipline, you know, to adhere to things, you know, to be conscious of order, you know, conscious of personal responsibility, you know, conscious of being, um, what's a good word for? I'm looking for where you learn to serve and to be selfless. The time of Cephas was the time that the lawgivers were raised up. Moses, Chenaiah, Poe, Abraham, you know, Iowatha, the lawgivers. It was to teach us. I mean, they weren't the embodiment of Cephas, one of the entities of the creator. You know, a lot of you ain't gonna know what I'm talking about if you're new to the channel. I'm talking about the creator, and he basically has made, what's a good word for, categorized. He is basically given men cycles of time to go from one stage to another. And so that's what I'm talking about now, where we were created and then we had to learn to live in communities. We had to learn to about spiritual things, and then when we were ready, we moved on to a period like Cephas, we went through the cycle of Apollo where he beautified us and made us more comely to look at. And then he took us to the cycle of Thor where we learned to think. And no, that was Osiris. Thor was where we were taught the planets, and that caused us to come into the cycle of Osiris where we had to learn to think. All of this was to bring us to the Creator, to grow us up, to get us to exercise our full potential. And so we get the Cephas, and we had to learn discipline, and it was the way the Creator helped us to get used to investing our own energy to be diligent to what we believe. There were things that we have to do. So Cephas, that was the purpose for it. It was kind of like you go to a school and it has harsh rules and you have to follow them. And, people, it's one of the ways we were taught obedience, obey. And so now here we are in the Kosmon era, and the Creator is putting away Cephas. And so we witnessing the last, what's a good word for influences of Cephas in our reality now. The Creator is saying, okay, school is over. It's over, man. I'm setting you free. I'm setting you free to use your own mind to think what is good. You think for yourself, man. That's what Kosmon is all about. It's like the Creator saying, okay, look here. You got all the evidence before you. You've seen history. You've seen what you're prone to do. You've seen the mistakes you made. Okay, now learn from it. You know that there's a morality. You know what morality is. You got a good sense of that. You know there's an afterlife. Even though man is not really, even though he started with religion when it was good. The lawgivers gave us religion. It was good. It was profitable. It taught us morality. Okay, you should have learned that by now. You know the golden rule. You know what I mean? You know it. You know it. You know there's an afterlife. Okay. Now it's time for you to implement the things that you know. Listen to your inner self. That's where I am. I'll tell you what to do. Just listen for that influence. It take practice, take time. It take dedication, man. Well, that's where we are now. We're in the Kosmon era. The Creator is saying, okay, I'm going to put away Cephas. You don't need no priest. You don't need no Lord. You don't need no God. You don't need nothing. You got everything within you now. You fulfill your own potential. Now you fulfill your own potential. Here's the template. Basically, treat each other right, overcome yourself. Here's what evil is. Here's what righteousness is. If you want to make the resurrection where all you wish for is true, then this is what you have to do. See, and we live in a world that we got a lot of rebellion in the world. I don't want to do it. It feels good for me to be evil. I like being evil. It feel good. So the title of the video is The Reason We Can't Make It. And I think what got me on this subject is there's a situation in the world where oil and gas is at the head, it's like at the top of the headlines. Okay. For you brethren who haven't been paying attention, this is getting ready to become an issue. The earth is going through one of these Ethereal worlds in a region where there is pretty good darkness called AG. The red star, the phalanx, which means the earth and the planets We go through these ethereal regions. These are formless, invisible bodies that have influences on us, and it's for our growth. It's for our growth. Now, AG is a time of darkness, man. You know, things grow in the dark. We're in a situation where we're in school. We're on the earth. We're learning to overcome ourselves, to overcome the tetracts, identify what our lower vibrations are, to put them down and overcome the world. We have to overcome the world, man. Get on that road. And so I got to thinking, oil and gas, the world, especially the United States, don't know how to share the earth. They don't know how to share the earth, man. That's what it boils down to. There's a shift. Power is going from the west to the east. Economic, geopolitical power, whatever you want to call it, is shifting. They're getting together over there in the east. They're forming trade unions, trade blocks, where they trade basically with themselves. They're all in their own region over there, and they're freezing out. Europe and the United States, the white man states, are getting frozen out by black and brown nations and yellow nations, Asians, getting together, and they're freezing out the white man, freezing out the Europeans, freezing out America. It's a shift. It's a change in power structure, and America don't like it. They've been the power for so long. It's just like that example. It's a sad, I've seen it. It's happened to me in my life. When you break up with somebody, I'm telling you, man, you guys know that's a very painful situation in life, man. And if you don't overcome that, you could go down. You guys heard about the brother that had 8 children? The brother over in Louisiana, I think it was. That's a rough deal, man. That's a rough deal, man. His woman told him that the jig is up, man. She didn't want him no more. And that brother went out and shot her and the 8 children and himself, from what I understand. Or they shot him. You ever hear that song, Love is a Battlefield? That's true. That's true. When you don't learn about the creator, man, and how you're supposed to be selfless, and the government that rules over people is meant to serve and not to serve themselves. If you don't learn that simple lesson, man, this is going to be one of the things we're going to look back on future generations, and they're going to choose faithism. That's one of the things we write in history now. Now, oil and gas, we don't want to share it. The United States don't want, they got to dominate it, There have been refineries getting set on fire all over the world. I personally believe the United States is behind it, because the United States is the biggest producer of oil and gas in the world. Not Saudi Arabia, as you brethren might have heard. It's the United States. And when you don't want to lose your position, then you do things like that. You sabotage your competition. You can't share. You cannot figure out a way to join hands. If you see that you're losing, you're no longer needed like you were before, or only because other nations feared who you are. If your power lied in making people fear you, those days are over with now. The Middle East, the Far East nations, they're getting just as strong as the United States. And they forming their own trading communities. And they're freezing out the United States. Not 100%, but They're learning to do business with themselves. I could go a little deeper into it, but um, the whole point is that the United States just don't want to give it up. And the current conflagration is over oil and gas. And we ain't gonna, we just cannot go on. We've already reached a point where life for us is not going to be the same. Not going to be the same for us, even as soon as June, a couple weeks away, when the pipeline, all the things in the pipeline run dry. The business model that the world ran on was everything have to keep going. Everything got to keep going. The ships coming out of the Middle East, it was like it had to be a chain, an unbroken chain. One ship leave, it'll arrive about a month later. Next ship leave, it'll come. And then companies and nations, they plan on that. And so when you break that chain, man, and then the pipeline runs dry, then people and everywhere you look, man, is dependent upon oil and gas. I mean, the byproducts of oil and gas is in everything. It's in everything. And we headed. We are headed. We haven't seen, we're right now in stormy weather where, if you've ever, like I grew up in Ohio, and I remember those pre-thunder, those pre-tornado weather, that pre-tornado weather. Oh man, I used to love that. The pre-tornado weather where everything get real still, and then it get gray, and then the wind pick up, and if it's near you, it just keeps picking up and picking up, and hopefully all you'll do is hear you won't be in the path of it. We're in the same situation, basically, because America cannot stand losing its place in the world. We're just the proudest, most entitled people in the whole world. And we never learn till it's too late. So it says, yes, according to OAHSPE, there will be a future in the advancing kingdom era where humanity relies far less on oil and gas. Won't even be relying on oil and gas as much as we do now. It says the text, meaning the OAHSPE, does not name specific modern technologies. It was revealed in 1882, talking about the OAHSPE. He says, but it clearly points to a shift. A shift is coming. Spiritual maturity, lifestyle changes, and responsible management of the earth. See, basically, people, as generations come and generations go, we're going to learn to look out for one another. We're going to be a community of people, is basically, in a nutshell, what this is saying. Then you can make it as a people, as a world, as a globe. You can make it then when your interests are not 100% your own, when your interests are not 100% your own. I was reading a report just before I came online. A report, it just caught my eye, where it said the president of the United States, man, he has made more trades on Wall Street than any president combined. I mean, previous presidents, they put all of their financial interest in a trust fund, meaning they have no control over it. Donald Trump has done the complete opposite. He makes trades on things that he can influence with policy, and he's corrupt to the point where he's corrupt. I'm saying what is proven. He is corrupt, and probably the most corrupt president that's ever been. And the OAHSPE said that this was going to happen. You know, one of my favorite verses where it says that only rogues, and now this was published in 1882. Remember? And the OAHSPE said that only rogues are going to inherit your high offices. Now, you have to think at least from then until now. And certainly the president is a high office. The Senate, the Congress, these are high offices. And I have to think he's primarily talking about America. If you ask me, I think he's talking about America primarily. And we have people ruling over us who the OAHSPE says would be rogues, not going to have your interests in heart. The OAHSPE said that, talking about our leaders, how they would be men that you could buy. You could buy them. You could buy influence, and that works against you, us. Our interests are not going to be, you know what I mean? They're not going to have our interests in heart. They're going to have profit in heart. Profit. Well, now we're in a situation where they're warring and fighting over one land that wants to rule over another. America wants to rule over Iran. They want to make them bow down, primarily for Israel's sake. It's Israel that is causing America, getting us into all this trouble. And so what does Iran do? They've been getting bombed. You guys heard about the 168 schoolgirls, right? You heard about that. 2 bombs was dropped on a girls' school. 168, 170 of them, they died. Girls, little girls. So Iran, and if you use Beast Kingdom logic, they're going to operate on Beast Kingdom terms, meaning if you hit me, I'm going to hit you back. So what do they turn around and do? They bomb the oil-producing countries that are aligned with the United States. They bomb them, and we are getting ready to go right back to hostilities picking up again. Right now, they're supposed to be in a ceasefire, and really it's a reloading, time of reloading, Israel, United States, and they're going to pick it up again. They're going to try it again to bring them to their knees. Now, Iran is already, they bombed the oil producing countries so that they used to produce like 20 million barrels a day. So you know how much is coming out now? Around 7 million barrels. Now, what do you think is going to happen? Remember the era of Osiris. Think. Let's think. Let's think about let's put it together, man, you know? Let's think about it. We live in a reality that's dependent on oil and gas for the most part. We live in a reality where the system has a small tolerance, just a tiny tolerance for any disruption. Any disruption has like 100-fold effect on different countries. So far as any disruption in the supply, manufacturing shuts down, existing supply gets more expensive. That means heating. That means cooling. That means transportation. Everything you can imagine gets more and more expensive. And when you have a limited supply, the price goes up. That's where we are right now. We're in, I'm talking about a situation we're in right now, man. As supplies, there's no oil coming out of the Gulf, at least to Western nations. It's not coming for the United States and for Europe mainly. And that means when the supply decreases, the price goes up. Everything. And that's why Iran is closing down the Hormuz Strait. They know that the only way to hit America back is through oil and gas. It's through oil and gas. They know the effect it's going to have on our economy. And so someone may say, well, that's all right because we don't really need what they got, but we can make our own. And that's true. But when inventories get smaller, the price goes up. And America is a country that will sell to the highest bidder and will leave you out in the cold. And if Asia, if Japan, if Singapore, if Thailand, if India, they say, hey, look, man, please, we'll pay you triple the price. We'll pay you quadruple the price. Please just give us the oil. Who do you think the United States is going to sell to? They ain't going to sell to you. They're not going to sell to you. You can forget that America First stuff. They're going to sell to the highest bidder because that's capitalism. See, that's why we can't make it. We can't make it, man, because we live under capitalism. Capitalism is not in the OAHSPE. In previous generations, ancient societies, they didn't have capitalism. They didn't run on oil and gas either. See, when you put commodities in the world like this, when men get knowledge, when they get increased understanding, you see how we do each other? We fight for it. We don't know how to share it, man. The beast takes over and says, possess what you will, the beast, man. The beast say, go for it, man. Go for it. You cannot satisfy the beast. You can't satisfy him, man. He keep on. He just want more and more. He won't stop. The beast won't stop, man. That's why people, I'm going to say it again, they get in a fight. Somebody say something, then the next person, they turn it up one bit, and then the other person, they turn it up another bit, and then the other person, they constantly start feeding the beast, man, until they come to bloodshed. You know what I mean? That's why the OAHSPE says, don't feed the beast. Don't feed him. Don't feed the beast, man. Don't feed him. Don't feed him. I've seen people who take an absolute beating, man, knowing they were going to take a beating, but they would not stop feeding the beast, man. They would not stop. They would not stop, man. Oil and gas origins. And the Bible don't say nothing about where oil and gas came from. Did y'all know that? That's one thing about the OAHSPE. It can tell you things other spiritual books can't. The OAHSPE can tell you about, see, the Creator, he withheld that knowledge for himself so that when the time came out, that's how he was going to separate his word. That's how he going to separate his word. You know? That's how he separate himself. Oil and gas origins. The Bible, it don't know nothing about this. It mentioned like olive oil and byproducts of oil and gas, but it don't know where it came from. It don't know a lot about what the OAHSPE knows. Oil and gas origins. They are ancient deposits formed during early planetary loots periods, meaning times of cosmic showers, when nebulae fell and buried rank vegetation and poisons. They turned into coal beds and oil beds. These are natural, but tied to an earlier, more primitive stage of the earth. So at one time, remember I was sharing a study about the rankness of the earth that we did on Wednesday? The earth, it got to a point where it was overgrown with just everything, you know. And the Creator had it covered up with what's called LUTs, cosmic showers. A nebulae, he calls it, a nebulae, a substance. It fell and it buried the rank vegetation. So oil and gas, it buries, so it's got something it buried underneath, rank vegetation. Rank vegetation. Its purpose was to bury the overgrowth of the earth. It's like, you know, when you put like, you know, something to cover something up. You know what I mean? You put something over something to cover it up. That was oil and gas eventually that covered up poisons and rank vegetation. The Creator let loots fall and it buried rank vegetation and poisons. And they turned into coal beds and oil beds. So buried in the earth, men dig down and they extract it, they melt it, and then they use it to make all kinds of byproducts. But it wasn't always that way. Oil and gas is a product of what, this century? When was it discovered? I'm going on my computer. When was oil and gas discovered? 347 AD in ancient China, it says. It says the first documented discovery of natural gas dates back to 347 AD. 347 AD. So that's like the 3rd century, right? Is that like 347 years after year zero? 347 years after death? Where people drilled wells. Wonder who gave them the knowledge to drill for this stuff. People drilled wells up to 800 feet deep using bamboo poles to transport it for boiling brine and making salt. It says the history here. I should share the screen. Let me share the screen with y'all. Oh, you can read along. Let me share the screen. I hate to do a bunch of dancing, then I mess up the video. Let's share the screen. Okay, this is what I was looking at. Oil was first discovered in 347 AD. 347 AD in China. The history of oil and gas spans thousands of years of human use, breaking down into a few distinct milestones. Natural gas, the first documented discovery of natural gas in 347 AD. The history of oil and gas spans thousands of years of human use, breaking down into a few distinct milestones. So we got 3000 BC before Christ in Mesopotamia, as the ancient civilizations used naturally seeping. So it was naturally seeping crude oil and bitumen. Bitumen, that's mentioned in the Bible, as a thick tar-like oil. So they found this substance, it was seeping, kind of thick. They concluded that you could use it to bind things, a binding agent. A thick tar-like oil where you could make bricks for mortar and waterproofing for boats. 347 AD in China, first natural gas wells were drilled using bamboo poles to use the gas for lighting and heating. 1846, 1847, Scotland and Canada, chemists independently developed ways to distill kerosene and illuminating oils like for the lamp, the lantern, from coal and petroleum seeps. So he started studying it in depth. 1859, Edwin Drake drilled the first modern commercially successful oil well located in Titusville, Pennsylvania. So then they caught on real fast then. They said, what's this stuff seeping out of the ground? I don't know, man. It looked like, I don't know. Let's check it out. Let's study it. Hey, man, you know, if you distill this stuff, you could set a match to it and it'll become a flame. It'll light gas and it'll power a flame. Oh, really? Wow, man. Where did you find that stuff at? Over there in the mountains over there. We went over there, you know. Here, let me see the spot. Okay, come on. They show, hey, well, dig around it. You know, dig up some more, dig some. And then a big gusher came out, you know. You know. They said, oh, you know, for a cuss word. And the party was on then, man. You know how inventions pick up steam, you know? So oil and gas, men discovered it. It became a commodity. The byproducts are worldwide. And the rest is history. And now we're greedy at heart. Go back to the study. We're greedy at heart, man. You know, we've seen what oil and gas can do. You have to thank the Creator, man, that he only let man go on for a little while. He only let him go on for a little while, man, in the context of things, you know, because he wants to dominate resources. He's going to use it to enslave his brother, the beast. The reason we can't make it, man, that's the reason we cannot make it. Capitalism, the beast, we don't know how to share, how to use it and say, hey, look, man, we can extract this stuff, man, and we can go and build a technology and build a society, man, that's beneficial to everybody, make things more affordable, provide it for free whenever we can, but nope, we got to make a profit on it. And we can't let nobody else share in it. So we got to, as the most powerful nation on the earth, under the beast, under Christianity, we can't share with nobody. We ain't going to share this with no GD body. And that's why we can't make it. And it's being borne out right now. In the kosmon direction, this is the current era of human adulthood. People are called to take wise dominion over the earth, air, waters, and resources, not plunder or depend destructively on them, but manage them harmoniously with Jehovah's creations. This includes learning to control elements. Look at all these things we can do: causing rain, overcoming droughts through higher inspiration rather than brute extraction. See, we just don't know how to treat, once the earth, we just turn into every man for himself, man. Every man for himself. That's the Creator is showing us what we will do with our free will. This what we will do. You got people who are in pain, man. Especially in Europe right now. They're really paying a price. You probably don't know. Go on YouTube and look at oil and gas crisis. Just type in oil and gas crisis. You got people, remember in India, standing in line for a week for liquefied natural gas. See, economies, they built around oil and gas and liquefied natural gas. It makes life easier for these people, man. Farming, you need farming, oil and gas, and you need fertilizer, man. Do you know, again, I call your attention back to the cutoff that we are right now, we're under it. In Qatar, they used to ship they were the world leader of liquefied natural gas. Don't you know you use that stuff to make fertilizer or to do something to fertilizer, to grow the crops? You know what I mean? 20% of that came out of Qatar, right? How much is coming out now? Check this out. Zero. So now Osiris taught us to think. The Osiris era and the OAHSPE, you know what I mean? So if the world relied on at least 20% of the liquefied natural gas coming out of Qatar, and now there's none, what's going to happen to our farming? You see, may the Creator help us, man. May he do something to help the faithless. I trust he will. I do trust we are going to witness the glory of the Creator, just like they did in Egypt when it seemed like it wasn't no hope. I think the same thing is going to happen. I believe that in my heart, man. That's what make you run away from the world even more for a faithless. This should make you say, hey, man, I'll check you later. I mean, way later. I'll check you later, cuz, I'll check you later, man, because I can't depend on you, I can't depend on you, man, This is the current era of human adulthood. See, now the Creator's saying you've been through my 7 entities. You're now in kosmon. You've been through Cephas. You've been through Uz. You've been through, I forget the other ones. We are the people who are now, it's time for us to learn the only way to make it is the Creator's way. That's the only way, man, People are called to take wise dominion. See, that's what the earth is going to learn. The Uzians, where we live right now, We're going to learn, man. You know, I think faithists already know we got to learn community. We got to learn faithism. And the world is just going to have to learn it the hard way. You're going to learn it the hard way, man. You know, you're going to learn. If you want to go down that road, okay? Practical shifts that reduce reliance. Strong emphasis on plant-based herbivorous diet greatly lowers the enormous energy, land, and resource demands of meat production. See? The creator is saying the faith this way is going to energy resources ain't going to be it's not going to be a problem. It's not going to be a problem. It ain't going to. There's not going to be no need for this tremendous extraction. There wasn't before 347 AD. What did we do before then? See, now we can't do without it. Rejection of war. How much you think war uses oil and gas? You know. This is why we just cannot make it, man. We can't make it, man, because you put a commodity in the world and the whole world becomes dependent on it. There's always got to be somebody who got to be in control of it. Rise of self-sufficient, peaceful communities modeled in the Book of Shalem, focused on clean farming, education, manufacturing for real needs and good works rather than endless consumption or exploitation. You brethren heard about those data centers, right? You know about the data centers. I don't have to, you brethren know about the data centers. See, it's like we in an age, man, where we got all this knowledge, but it's knowledge without wisdom, meaning it's not beneficial for all the people. It ain't beneficial for all the people. You know, these data centers, the water that they use up, the poisons they expel, you see, it's intellect it's technology, but it does not have, it's without wisdom, you know? It's without wisdom, man, you know? It's profit driven. Okay, the conclusion of the study says yes, in growing up time in the Kosmon era, people won't keep digging up and burning so much old oil and gas that dirties the world. They'll live kinder and smarter, eating plants, building peaceful towns that grow cleanly and using their brains, plus help from the creator to manage energy, take good care of the earth instead of hurting it. OAHSPE's overall message is one of progress through cycles past ages, used what was available. Past ages used what was available. So that's why we can't make it, man, you know? It all goes down to being selfishness, you know? Selfishness. This is where it's gotten us. And at this present time, you brethren are going to be hearing about hostilities picking up between Iran and the United States and Israel again, and expected to be much worse this time. I'm saying it so that we can all prepare in our own way, man. You know, I don't know how that is, you know, but we don't want to be willingly ignorant of the world that we live in, man. You know, hopefully somebody can come and give us some wisdom on how we should move, what way we should go, some brother or sister. The creator will help us to understand what to do in this time that we're in. We got to go through it. You know, he said he won't give us some loud mouth messenger this time. He said that the light is going to be global. So We're in a situation. Now, I think I'm if somebody wants me to share the mic, type a one and type a one, and I will drop the link. I think what I'm gonna do, let me see if anything comes to my mind. I'm gonna close the video early. I usually go till 7:30. Let me see if anything comes to my mind. If anybody wants me to drop the link, just I'm in the chat now, so I could say hi to everybody. That'd be nice. Nazarene, my brother. Keon, you're a sister. I Tabitha. I'm sorry. I thought you were a brother before. Let me see. You got some stuff here. Let me see. Nazarene, he said, okay. Let's see. Greetings, beloved. Tonight will be a great. Yes. It's hard to be eating these animals who go through pains to feed our stomach. Ooh, that's hard hitting. You're right, though. I think the Creator wants us to realize that. She says, could fashion your body be you can excuse me. Could fashion your body could fashion your body be you can let me see. I gotta translate that. It says could fashion your body be, does it mean you can become whatever you want? Not limiting oneself. The blind can see, lame can walk. Yeah, I have to agree. I was talking earlier about the spiritual realities in the book of Ben and what the Creator says we will be able to do. Hi, Natsari Yahoo. Natsari Yahoo, I don't think I've seen you before. Welcome to the channel. We see Tabitha says, the people who sits in power is not the real powers. The real powers, you don't see them regularly. Yeah, I agree with that. All right, Brother Prince. Purple Rain. He plays guitar too. Elijah and Heathen Vegan. Greetings. All right. So nobody wants the mic. I think I'm going to let y'all out of school early. Summertime, early classes. And I'll pick up the regular schedule Friday. So if anybody wants to come on, type a one in the chat. If not, I'm going to close the video early. And I just pray, man, the situation, I can't get it off my mind where the world is going to be affected. I think it's got to be that way because we won't learn if we keep going the way we are. We've shown that with all this prosperity, supposedly, people still live week to week. We just have not learned how to be a community where it'll be much better, much greater, So, all right, nobody wants to come on? Nobody? That's okay. That's cool. Good, great. Thanks for joining me. If anyone is interested in an OAHSPE or a study volume set, 6-volume study set, contact me. If you're a little short, I will be more than happy to help you to get it. And I have a link. Well, shoot, I didn't put it in the chat, man. I forgot. I have a link, man, for charity. If there's brother and sister, you need charity, man, let me know. I won't run from you. I hope, man, that, we get it in our minds. I kind of hope, man, the Creator put us in a situation where we're going to have to rely on one another. Okay, yeah, Tabitha. I know that's the faith this way, man. A community. That's the faith this way, man. And this situation, brethren, please, I call your attention to the situation in the world. I call it, ain't much really going on right now. Something could jump off by the time I get out, close the video. That's where we are. And the situation, if they restart, will be worse than before. I think it's got something to do with the kosmon era. I think it's got something to do with the change. The OAHSPE, I think the creator says that a change of era is always rough, man. It's always rough, and he chose us to be the people. All right. So if you want the 6-volume set, the OAHSPE, just contact me. You can get it for free. I had the link where you could get the OAHSPE for free in the comment section, but I forgot to put it in there. But that's okay. I'll do it next time, brethren. Thank you for joining me. Jehovah, thank you for this opportunity, my brethren, and the things that we have learned. And I just ask and pray that you give us wisdom for the days that are ahead of us, and that we can redeem the time. Most important thing is to redeem the time, but we give thanks also that we found you, or that you found us, or however it works. The most treasured thing in the world is to be able to find you, to find your word, to find your light, to help us to redeem the time. We are living in a world of darkness, and we are under the Uzians who are showing that they are willing to destroy the works of their own hands. Creator Jehovah, I ask for my brothers and sisters, that you would just, our shars, that they would speak really, their influence on us would be really super strong, so we can know how to walk while we're in this reality. Jehovah, please, I ask in your name, so let it be. Brethren, all right, that's it for tonight. I'll pick up regular hours Friday. I just feel like I wanted to shorten it tonight, no particular reason. So thank you for joining me. And until I see you again Friday, the Creator be with you. Until then, peace be unto you. Shalom.